Talk Show.
It's the Daily Talk Show, episode 560.
For the big 560, we've got Max Price.
I'm so lucky on the episode 560. What an honour. Thanks, guys.
It's a good number.
It's a good, yeah. What's something consistent that you've done for the most amount of time in your life?
Oh, Jesus. Gone in the deep end then.
You can't say watch porn.
And I've gone through 30 things that I feel I can't say. Most consistent. I can do everything I've done at least consistency. Actually, that's what I'm envious about you guys. I was driving in going 560 episodes. Like, I've actually started a podcast, did 10 episodes, and went, I've got to do another one, and just didn't do it.
But the thing is, but you do heaps of stuff, so there must be something within all of that like, what is the thread if you were to pull one?
I've always written stuff, comedy. Things. I love writing. I love having my head. I don't like my head scrambled, and then I write things down and I'm like, there we go.
Because I think Tommy and I love the idea of writing, but we've never been good at it.
Too busy doing this.
Yeah. But how do you actually how do you format your writing? Like, how does it actually look?
Well, with like comedy, and I guess sketch comedy is what I've been doing for like almost a decade now. It's all Evernote, that app. Evernote is just like, I'll be having beers with mates and then we'll land on something. I go, there's something there. And I used to just go, I'll remember that. And everyone knows you don't remember that.
Yeah.
10 minutes later, you're like, fuck, I forgot that thing. So then I was just like, so now my mates even know I'll just withdraw myself from the conversation, make a note, and it would just be like a little insight. That's it. And then I will go away. Then I'll go to a cafe with a laptop. Yes, I'm one of those wankers. And then
do you have Final Draft?
Final Draft.
Oh, great.
But I'll write out the sketch spine in Evernote, just as just all messy, and then I try and make it all right there. And then then Final Draft is just data entry at the end. Yeah. And then that's the kind of the process. But yeah, I love it. That's probably the only thing I do consistently.
I mean, you've been creating though consistently for many years. Like I remember Elliot Loney, I went to primary school with. I remember when you shot that video, Man vs Metro.
That's a long time ago.
A long time ago, but like you've still been chipping away, and that's when I think you and I probably added you on Facebook as you just add anyone.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
No, add anyone. Like didn't know him.
Yeah. Sure.
Didn't know you. Hadn't like. Wasn't like
and you
we
accepted.
Yeah, I was silly enough to
dirty
accept.
Little. but
I accepted like 3 Russian girls with 3 friends, and then you.
Thank you.
I get more out of them than you. That's what I was like.
But then I've seen you just having a crack. You said 10 years of sketch comedy. You've been pushing this out into the world, and you found a sweet spot. From my perspective, it looks like that, where you've been able to convert creating sketch comedy into something where you're working with brands who are wanting that product.
Yes. I mean, that kind of stems from Sportsbet. So I took a gap year after school, and then I was going to do film and TV at Swinburne and all that kind of stuff. And I just got lucky with a job as like a marketing assistant at Sportsbet, and legit getting coffees and all that stuff. Anyway, slowly worked my way up, and it got, within like 6 months, and by working my way up, just, not getting coffees anymore. And then I was going to leave and go to film and uni, and then I realized actually I would end up applying for this job after 4 years. So I was like, I'm just going to stay here. So I'm so glad I did that. And then I started to see them spend so much money on TV and nothing on social. And then over the course of like 6 or 7, 8 years, I saw it start to swing, where they would be withdrawing money from big TV commercials and investing into social media. And they spent so much money flying heads of marketing around the world to see trends and where it was all going. So I was getting like this incredible information about where it's all heading. And I was like, and I'm kind of writing this all, like I'm writing and directing a lot of it with some really cool people at Sportsbet. And then I realized, okay, I quit there about 2 or 3 years ago. And I went, this is going to be tough for a little bit, because I'm still convincing marketing managers to not fund the big, $500,000 productions on 30-second TV ads they've done for 20 years and invest in this in social content where the first comment can be, "This is fucking shit," which
sorry
makes a
about
lot of people which makes a lot of people nervous. So anyway, yeah, you're right. I was kind of.
I love that they don't like the feedback of something like that, but then they don't get any feedback from
No
television.
feedback, good feedback.
No feedback, good feedback. Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of the thing with some of the traditional advertising. You just kind of put it out and go, "Well, we didn't get many complaints, so I guess that's good. That's a win."
I feel like you're pretty meta when I think like 2016, you made the big leap and did Priceless Productions. How, because you then like having a kid, that was timing wise, I feel like that was pretty hectic.
It was definitely rough because we moved to Sydney, and as we were signed a lease in Sydney, and we were literally moved into this place, fitted sheet on the bed and just like moving shit in, and my girlfriend goes and vomits in the bathroom, and I'm like, "Hey, we're just in Sydney. You're already homesick. Don't worry about this." And then
You got her pregnant just by putting on the sheet.
You're quite skilled. So we were like, we had no one in Sydney family wise, and found out we're pregnant, and then it was just like, well, we got to move back to Melbourne because we got support in Melbourne and nothing in Sydney, and so it was going to be Sydney and then possibly America, and then it just kind of went Sydney. Oh, come back to Melbourne. Let's just reassess here with a child, and then but in that time it was also trying to work out a business. You know, you guys are running one, and I was always part of a big corporation, so I was just in the marketing team, never having to deal with anything else, and then you got to learn how to accounting software and this and that, and then obviously we underquoted and a job a couple times where we were in the red big time, and you're editing this job, you're editing like this funny content knowing that you're losing money.
But at that point it's a freebie.
and that's brutal. So what I mean by that is I made a lot of mistakes from like, which you're meant to do, which is great.
And he's not talking about the pregnancy.
No, that was one too. But a great mistake. If you're watching in 20 years, Ava,
It's exactly what happened to me. It was the first year, I think, that I'd started my business, and Amy fell pregnant.
The fitted sheet thing.
It was
the fitted sheet? That was fitted sheets.
It was Dale's.
Can't fold them to get people pregnant.
To be honest, it was actually the fire at the end of our bed that made it all happen.
What's the fire?
Oh, we were in Dalesford. Is where
it happened. Mine was at our going away party. Legit.
But I think it's all hard. So having the kid thing is a forced upon you environment that is just a lot of stress.
That like 6 months of first 6 months, I've been telling everyone, first 6 months is awful, and then it's heaps of fun. But the first 6 months is where your life just gets turned upside down, and the no sleep, the sleep deprivation, and you got to try and meet people and be normal and like walk out the front door like nothing, like you haven't had the shittest night's sleep ever.
Yeah, and so when you got to combine that with work, I left a small HD monitor, $1,500 monitor in the park. And it was
I get it.
It was when I was so tired, and I just was like, I'll put this down for 1 second, then I'll pick it up, and then just walk off the other way. I don't do that shit. Like that's rare. That's the first time I've ever lost anything.
Yeah.
And it was in the midst of just being fucking sleep deprived.
What about the stress of trying to convince your partner that what you're doing is the right thing?
I've got a good partner. Like she backs me to the hills. And she's actually helped after doing the mothering thing, which she's doing amazing on. She's come on and starting to produce stuff for the business. No, she was like, obviously with the stressful days and all that, but she just backed us in, and I think like she's starting to see the benefits of it now, which we're still a long way to go of being like, I'd love to scale and get better and bigger and all that, but yeah, it's she backed me, so it wasn't.
Did you feel that though? Was there ever like, because obviously, people can be super supportive, but the internal pressure.
I actually think that if it wasn't because of the pregnancy and having a daughter, I'd be working half the intensity that I was working.
Yeah,
because I was just like, fuck, this has to work.
Yeah.
I've got a dependent now and all that.
Well, I think it's like this show, the consistency of it, you would think would take away severely from any other productivity, which it does in terms of a bit of time. But I think, like for us over the last year, being able to achieve make any money, I think if we didn't have the podcast there, something that's forcing us to sort of show up each day, a kid does the same thing. It's a forced pressure. It can't just go away.
Yeah.
And so you do find the best version, or you try and sort of dig deep to see how much capacity you do have. So you expand, right? It's like when you take on a first role with the young marketing assistant, your capacity's here because you can't comprehend a whole heap of shit at that point. If you don't know, you don't. What you don't know, you don't know. And so it sort of like elevates your ceiling, your brain, and it's like an expansion.
Oh, absolutely. That's a good way of putting it. You know your limitations, and you just start breaking them, and you're like, oh, actually, I can do that, and that's like the power of big thinking, I guess, which I think is good.
Just making cash versus doing creating sort of fulfilling work.
That's big. That's a great question, because I see a lot of people who are the houses and the cars, and then you have a drink with them, and they're like, I fucking hate what I do. And I just go, holy shit! Like that's the opposite of what I want to do. Yeah. Like I just try and I've tried to create my own work over the last 2 years and continue to still have heaps of fun and make sure it's comedy, and like even some of the acting stuff is not because I want to act, it's because our budgets are small, someone's got to do it.
And now you're on TV.
I can safely say at the moment I'm loving like what I'm doing, and hopefully, and like the financial side I believe will catch up.
Was it a hard pitch? So I guess 2016, the idea, what you were doing. So I had a production business doing sort of corporate video stuff. There's an extra layer of what you're doing, which is you're providing unique creative. They're almost originals that you're selling in, right? It's like skits for brands. Did you find that harder at the start or easier in regards to finding clients?
I actually thought it was our point of difference, which therefore meant that it was easier because, I did think at one point that, what corporate, like the videos and like there's a lot of people that say we do it all and we can do that and this. And I was like, why don't we? And it was one of those, Gary V-esque kind of people that were like, if you just stick to your, if you sell, what is it that there's like, if there's two restaurants on each side of the road, one has a menu with 150 things on it and the other one just sells ravioli, like you're more likely to go, I reckon they'd do that pretty good. Yeah. And that 150 things pretty average. So I was like, for me, that was the comedy. I was like, let's do comedy and just bar everything else, say no to everything else.
What about people that don't like ravioli, using that analogy? So if you're going in, I guess like say there's a bunch of companies that are like, they're just getting into the business of doing video. Yeah. The marketing manager is like how do you sell in the comedy thing, or do you need primed people that are ready to invest in that?
It's a mixture of two, I reckon. There's brands that just have, that fit comedy. Hence Sportsbet have like that's their brand position to be like entertaining and funny and whatnot. And the other side for brands that aren't traditionally funny is to say that for social content, you're more likely to have some success with comedy content, not, just the CEO on in the background just saying, this is a good company, no one's going to watch that shit. But if you can somehow, and it's still got to have like some kind of brand awareness. That's what that's what we write in scripts and trying to make it not too in your face so people actually watch it. But I just think some brands suit it, and then some brands you just have to say, do you want your content to be seen organically, or is it just going to fall through? And I reckon either it's comedy, something incredibly informative, your cats videos, or something in like epic slow-mo.
In the early days, did you ever actually just do a straight corporate video?
Yes. Yeah.
How did it go?
I hated it. Because you're miking up boring. It's funny. You're in a set or you're in a room when no one's having fun. It's like the person on camera is just hates it, the cameraman, the sound, and even the client. You're all just going, let's get this shit done. It really did. It felt like that. So I was like, okay, let's bar this stuff.
Yeah. Was it a bit of a pivotal moment? Like, or did it feel that clear?
I actually don't. I don't think it was that clear until. I actually don't think it was. I just think it progressed into we started to get approached saying, it turned into, hey, these guys do comedy. So we attracted people that wanted comedy quite quickly. I wasn't able to like weigh up the boring videos and the fun stuff as much as I thankfully didn't need to.
Yeah. I love the time because if you were doing something like this 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it becomes a comedy company or serving the networks where that's the only real avenue for the content. But nowadays it's like brands, this glass company could be willing to drop 10 grand on some kind of piece of content that
for sure.
now can cater. So it's like, it's forever opening up these new doors. Like this probably wasn't accessible 10 years ago even.
No, even like it's still becoming accessible. Like, that's the half the battle for me is like I never wanted to be a salesman. But it is a lot of that when you walk into a marketing meeting with a new client who's, a bit older and done traditional media forever. And then they're just skeptical. And then you've got to try and sell the Daewoo car. I mean, it's not a Daewoo car. It's a great car, the social world, but it's also, selling it to someone who has never seen one before. I'm never going to be a fan of doing that, but it's necessary because then it gets to work.
If we were hired by you, Priceless Productions, and you were creating a sales team, Tommy and I had to go out and sell what you offer, what would you be saying to us to empower us to, connect with clients?
Oh, that's good. Maybe, pose the question to everyone in the room, how many TVs are plugged into the wall with the antenna? Because a lot of them aren't anymore. Like, there's a lot of people that just...
Mine isn't.
Yeah.
So the problem there, so are you identifying that the biggest barrier is selling in even the distribution?
Exactly. So when I reckon a lot of brands get their budgets for the year, their marketing budget, they'll have people knocking on the door who have knocked on that door every year for whenever they started it.
Oh, they just walk in now. They don't even knock. Just, hey, Jeff, I'm here.
Yeah, Jeff, we're doing that same thing again. And I'm just trying to break that barrier a bit and going like, hey, why don't we take some of that? You can still advertise on this and still put an ad in a newspaper or whatever. But why don't you actually play in this space now? Because I know you're getting told you have to and you should, and I know it's a nervous time to make a bit of a switch so that's the convincing. That's all it is. It's just trying to convince them of that.
And so if they've got like a $2 million budget from a marketing spend perspective, how do you communicate what they should be spending from a content? Because obviously there's also the nuance of like, okay, we want to do some paid stuff around this. So there's going to be cash that they spend on it that isn't even going to see you. It's going to go straight to Facebook.
Zuckerberg. Yeah, for sure. Well, it depends on each and every one of them, whether or not they want to match the budget with the spend behind it, match the production budget with the spend behind it, or go smaller, or at least with Facebook, you can like the incredible ability of targeting the person you want, as opposed to just like, radio where it's just, throwing in the, like you just put it out and hope the person the demographic that you're selling that product to is listening at the right time. Whereas Facebook, you can put some money behind it and find out like, hey, like drinking out of short water glasses and on tables. Whoa, hey, it just turns up in your feed. So it's a power, like I'm quite behind it and I very much believe in it. So that helps. So I just think that if you ever selling a product. And sorry, I digress for a second. The other thing would be when you do your big TV campaigns, I actually do think there's this, it legitimizes brands when you're seen on TV. You go, they're a real thing. And what they sometimes do is they get that big, that 30-second hero piece, and then they just put it online and they wonder why it sucks.
Yeah.
And all I'm trying to say is, well, give them a little bit less, give us a bit. And that same brief that you're giving them to do the 30-second creative, give us a minute and a half to do something that will work more on social because it's designed for social. And that's starting to be received a bit more, but yeah, you still battle daily.
With Sportsbet, you're obviously working internal. It seems like you do a good job of direct to client sort of stuff. How does agencies and middlemen fit into what you do?
It hasn't. Not for any other reason than we've just been going because I know they'll just take a chunk.
Yeah,
that's it. I know they'll. We've done one thing before and it didn't work, and we bypassed them and went straight to a client, and they loved it, and it was the same pitch.
Yeah.
So what they did is they said, "Hey, can you send us some ideas for these guys?" And we sent it to the agency, and they said, "Don't think they'll like them." And we're like, and then it all fell through. 6 months later, I hit up the guy who owns the business, and I went and pitched the same ideas, and he loved every one of them. We've made 2, and we're going to make the 3rd. So it was like,
so what's the learning there? Agencies are getting in the way. Well, what's their roles? Why do you think it's not succeeding?
Well, the agencies. Well, we're an agency, really. Like if you break it down, where we are an agency just designed for social at the moment.
But what's the difference? Because there feels like there is a difference potentially. So you've got production companies.
Yeah.
And then you've got agencies. Was it have you made a specific choice of we're going after, we want to be the agency?
I don't know why. I guess when we were at Sportsbet, we worked with a very big agency, and I really just didn't like it. And I didn't like the people in there. I didn't like the culture, the vibe. It felt very wanky. So I've always been like very anti-agency.
Yeah. But there's definitely, I think you hit the nail on the head. There is a vibe to agency, big agency models.
Feels a bit disconnected potentially, especially on the end of being a creator. You can see how little they're actually putting into creative or thinking, getting shit across the line, and then how much of the shit is based on our ability to execute. But you think about how many things that they don't actually know that you're processing.
That's very true. And I also think the creative is damaged because of the amount of hands it goes through, and a good idea just gets diluted down to no one now likes it because everyone's put their fingers on it and like muddled it, and the whole creatives have become blurred and shit, and then no one likes the final product. And so I guess that's just the benefit of being small. But is that going to be damaged if we go big? I don't know. I just haven't given that too much thought just yet.
Well, think about Gary Vaynerchuk, his agency, a huge Vayner Media. I don't know any content that's done. Like, you think I only know his content.
Stuff.
I've seen a Super Bowl thing that I was like, I just watched and I was like, that's just made by a production company that looks kind of cool.
They're different business models, aren't they? Like,
definitely.
Where do you see what you're doing? Like, if you look at, say, traditional older businesses, so like you see Radio Karate, what Hamish and Andy, have done. Then you've got the corporate style production, which is sort of your visual domains of the world that have 50 employees and pumping out heaps of content. Then where do you fit in the original versus the corporate?
It's a great question, because the other thing is I'm co-writing with Troy Kinne and co-directing with him a sketch show on Channel 10, which is traditional media, and they've been great. I really, really enjoy that, doing everything with that network and the production company we're working with. And yet I'm kind of like being a hypocrite on both sides. But I would love to grow to do bigger and better things. I just know those budgets are going to swing more. But I think that the ability to do some original content for streaming platforms is just going to be ever growing as well. And, the great thing with these little sketches and the smaller content is it's really good testing ground for the bigger idea. And like you can kind of go, oh, that worked and that was cool. And it was really well received. You get like to test content on audiences, which are Facebook. And if it goes quite, viral or, there's a lot of engagement, you go, well, we should maybe build on that. And then, so I'd like to do the second season of Kinne, and then, I don't know, maybe work on just something longer form or, I'd love to be able to do a large project and then like fill it with these kind of the smaller stuff that I've been doing. But at the moment, it's just working my ass off and seeing what happens and making sure it just remains fun, which it is at the moment.
When you're writing a sketch, when do you know that you've landed on an idea that's funny or that will work?
I think, there's nothing worse than having like a client that just goes, just go for it, right? Because we have no boundaries at all. It just, when it becomes too open.
What happens in those moments? When you go open, what do you do?
We actually go, do you have any decks or PDF or PDFs or stuff with just like, customer, just stats, just give us something, give us demographic, give us age groups, give us all that. Then we can start piecing together what will be the content that will resonate with that person. And then we can now we can play in a space. And then, whether or not they're creative sessions with, like at the moment, me and Luke Goodall, I don't know if you know him from Goodall and Gallagher. He just has a little separate comedy group, but me and him are both creatives on Priceless. And then with Kinne, it's Kinne and myself. It's with Kinne, the Kinne Show, we're all about being relatable and playing in that relatable space. And we've seen other sketch shows do pilots or a season, and they don't really have the thing that they want to convey to people or a perspective or point of view. Whereas we're very clear with Kinne that it's like, we want to be just really, really relatable and resonate in relationships and mates and at home and at work. And once we put that in concrete, ideas are kind of easy because you can only shoot so far and you will get something.
Do you find that brands are okay with being self-deprecating?
I think they're getting better and better. I mean, I know a lot of people because I think it actually went way the other way a few years ago, that they've come back. Like everyone got really soft and went, oh no, and everyone straight bat everything for like 3 or 4 years. And then I've seen we're getting people going, we want to have some fun with it. And I think it's coming back, which is great.
How much are you thinking about like key messages? So like say you did the Kayo content where it's like the joke is you're asking about numbers or whatever, and people are saying 6 and 4 and doing all that sort of thing. What's the first thought on a joke like that? Is it we want people to be watching this everywhere, including at work?
I wish I thought about it as much. No, for something like that, there was a few things they wanted to convey, that you can watch it on multiple devices, and then you can just scroll back and you can watch it anywhere and make sure. And so straight away we're like, okay, cool. How can we show multiple devices with a few people? We can watch it anywhere, work, meeting, and then the comedy bit of the boss not understanding that he's not a part of the conversation they're a part of. And this all kind of like, it's hard to really like go step by step on how our brains thought of all that. But it just kind of, that's why a good brief helps a lot, because we can really break it down. And then by the end, it's actually just more like a jigsaw puzzle than being really creative.
Well, having constraints and understanding where you can push it to.
Yeah.
Or then being creative with the constraints.
For sure.
What about clients being on set with this type of thing?
Don't mind it at all. I guess the good thing at the moment, which is not like as in the budgets are quite small, so so they haven't got their video village where they sit under a tent and get fed berries all day, and then watch a monitor and go, oh, do that again, and their shirt is a bit crinkled, get the crease out. It's like they have to stand over our shoulders and look at the monitors we're looking at, and they don't get seats and stuff. so we look after them. We'll take their direction. We'll take their notes. We'll do what we can, but because their budgets are quite small, and usually we can only do a day shoot. That's only 8 or 10 hours, and we got to get it done. So we kind of make sure that the scripts are quite in their spot before we get on set, because they kind of have to be. We can't really sit there and ad lib for 2 hours. And yeah.
What's a brand that you think is what brand do you think? It's more so you go the obvious brands that are spending money on this kind of stuff versus the out of left field brands. Is there any that you're speaking with that are like it's an odd coupling, but it probably will work for them doing sketch comedy or
we did have a client who did money. They did small business loans, and that, like, when we first saw everything, we were like, oh, everything is so straight, and it was more just like, and it's a global company as well, so they were everything had to go through this New York office and make sure it was all. So I was really confused by why we were approached, and I'm still confused whether or not we were just right place, right time, or they actually wanted to do comedy stuff. But it's for what I realized is the marketing manager, I think, was just looking for an outlet, because I think everything that they'd done had been so, like, I can just imagine a marketing manager for a straight down the line brand would just see, like, approved just boring thing after boring thing, and just almost, it was like, just let's do something fun for a little, even if it's a small part of our strategy. So that's kind of been cool. Yeah. But usually when we've gone to approach brands, it's we've seen something before, or we've got a feel that they would be inclined to be receptive to humor. So we've targeted them. So which is also great, because it doesn't mean we're targeting everyone. We're targeting specific brands. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people start out doing sketches or copying sketches. You did
I used to get in, All Aussie Adventures. I would always do parodies of that, or the panel.
Amazing.
That was my first one.
I think with cameras so accessible now, there's probably more younger kids doing sketches.
We're doing TikToks now, aren't they?
I guess
probably?
it's TikTok.
TikToks, yeah.
You like TikTok?
That's
on LinkedIn and TikTok.
I now understand I'm old now. I saw the TikTok thing come along, and I just went, I don't feel like learning that one. I'm sure I'll get around it at some point. I'll have to.
Yeah.
But
Gary V, because I feel like sometimes we create these connections around, like, Instagram's big, and there was a bunch of people that said that Instagram wasn't big. I feel like that's the reason everyone's going on TikTok.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same fucking thing, right? It's almost like, this meal, that turned out to be a good one, so do you want to eat this bag of shit? Could be good. Like,
because you can literally say, TikTok's going to be the biggest thing ever, and then a second later go, TikTok's going to be shit, no one's going to use it. Yeah. And then 10 years, I'll just grab one of those clippings.
Yeah, exactly.
From this video and just be like, I told you.
But Gary loves getting into that. But no, I think the TikTok one's interesting, because I never think, if you look at the core of what the product was, Instagram was never about, like, dumb shit, like doing dumb videos and all that sort of thing. Like, what would the adult, if they say that TikTok is going to age up? They say, like, it's going to get...
They want it to age up. If it ages up, it'll spread like Instagram.
Is it like Fleetwood Mac, like songs instead? Like, what does that look? What does it actually look like? How would you age up TikTok?
I don't think what's that?
Just rants.
Yeah, it would be like, angry people, maybe.
I mean, there's some random shit, like something I've become... I spend a lot of time
on TikTok.
30 minutes. No, watching tattoo removal laser videos.
Do you?
Oh, dude.
Is it good?
It's so satisfying, because I saw one guy with, like, he put like a what do you call it? Like a eye lens, or a contact lens, but it's like it's solid, so it, like, shields it, and then he puts goggles on, and then he was doing like right near the eye line tattoo removal on the lip. But it was like, this is the shit.
Fascinating.
So businesses like that who can tap into something where there's, you're watching something happen, a process or a pool being filled. It's like or a pool changing colour. I've watched that shit.
No,
it's the kind of shit I'm just watching, I think.
Just to go down a conversation wormhole, like a rabbit hole on YouTube. I love watching people that are colorblind putting colorblind glasses on for the first time. I fucking cry. Hardcore.
Shit, we
It's
can
the
make one of
best.
those. Mr. 97's colorblind.
Are you really?
But not enough, I think.
Not
for
enough.
it to
I don't
cry.
know if it'd make a difference. Yeah.
Get the glasses.
Yeah. We could do that.
should
Do it
just
on
get
camera.
content.
Yeah.
Yeah, get
I'll
into some
cry.
glasses.
I'll come in and cry.
What about brands?
baby hearing for first time? That's always
yeah.
I love that
sweet.
shit. Love that shit.
What about brands that come to you and say, "Hey Max, we want to, we love everything that you do. Want to do that."
The colorblind thing.
Yeah, exactly. But we want it to be on TikTok. So how much are you? Do you need to use your own filters versus being like, "Fuck it, they're paying. Let's just go with it."
Well, I have already understood because I do look at stats and of like the growth of that platform, and it is kind of scary how quick it's growing. I did go on a family holiday with a couple other families, and one of the good family friends has a 11-year-old girl and with an iPad, and it was just the whole time I was like filming TikToks for her. She's like, she'd just throw me the iPad and go, "Okay, I'm going to come around the corner and do this," and then so I just had to. And I just know that's one 11-year-old girl, and there would be like just hundreds and hundreds of millions of the same kind of girl and guy and boy just making all these TikToks. So and she loved it. She was like so passionate about it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is the thing. This isn't this. So I know I need to keep up to speed with all this stuff. I have got it on my phone, and I've left the notifications on, and they send you one every day.
So annoying.
Oh, God.
Because they actually,
is
on the
painful.
Apple Watch, they actually show you like a thumbnail.
Oh,
And they're always fucking weird TikToks. So you end up just with sort of
Yeah.
preteens or whatever.
Your girlfriend. Who's that?
Yeah, it's
no,
just
it is
like,
a bit weird. It's
How many
things
people are
like-
on TikTok? Sorry.
even things saying like, I don't know if I have one now, but it's, my boyfriend told me something, this, and it's just like, it looks just dodgy from, even the missus looking over the corner.
So it's just TikTok, babe.
Yeah.
Oh, what a weird time. Mr. 97, how many people are on?
500 million monthly active users.
Seems like a lot of people.
That's a lot.
Oh, wow. And what's like Instagram?
Monthly user.
So 500 million.
Well,
I think they're probably
at $1 billion.
1 billion monthly active users.
Yeah, so they're halfway.
Halfway there. And they're much newer.
And they're on the
business.
rise, yeah. So I mean, I can like this will almost sound controversial, but if I wasn't in this game, I'd probably deactivate all my accounts.
Sure. I
Really?
think I would do the same too.
Yeah.
Have you
Get
got
rid of
off?
social media.
Have you got off before?
I've deactivated a few times, just like 6-month stints and just
What were you doing in the 6 months? Where were you? No one
just-
knows.
Yeah, I was in hiding for reasons I can't disclose. No, I just. Like I like to be on the creative side, not the consuming side. So I sometimes I'll just have like a bit of a brain snap where I'm just like, what am I fucking doing? And I just like close everything down and get back into like what I want to do rather than just sitting there, scrolling for the 800th time.
Yeah. I mean, I struggle with it. I retired from social media.
That was a good stint.
Yeah, that was
6 months.
over 6 months.
Yeah.
Great.
But the plan was forever.
Yeah.
But
So,
then
so was my first time.
Right, this is a recovery meeting.
But it's hard, isn't it? I go the
Yeah.
other way though. Like now, my thing at the moment is I'm like, when I came back on, I'm like, not really posting anything. I need to post
Yeah.
some more stuff, but I feel like I'm just entering into the same cycle.
For sure. Yeah, that's like I'd almost love just someone like if I could do a
You want a
2
virtual
weeks.
assistant?
Yeah, I heard about you. I've listened to your virtual assistant stuff.
Yeah, we need one.
I did like that. I agreed with you where you hear people go on about it, and then they when you get communication from them, you're like, that's not you.
It's a myth.
This is someone from Philippines.
Yeah, no, I don't know anyone. Ghosts. Who do you know personally who's seen one? It's always a friend of a friend.
Ghost.
A ghost.
Oh, yeah, sure. There was
I've got a
remember
friend
that
of a friend.
Chadston thing last year where there was that fake thing about
A terrorist.
a terrorist attack in Chadston, and someone had told me, I was like, oh yeah, a friend was picking up a wallet and said, don't go to Chadston this time. And then someone else said the exact same thing. And then so it turns out that this fucking rumor had just started in like a massive way.
You're kidding.
gotta
So
be-
no one knew the person. The
Yeah.
person never existed. It was fake. And so it all spread. And so
But then you have to speak to the person who, like, because there's always the person who it's their friend. So it's like, who the fuck it, like, what? And it always turns out it's like, oh no, I was just like you just exaggerate a tiny bit, and it gives you enough confidence. So I was texting people going, don't go to Chadston.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Anyway,
you did. You fucking.
yeah, I said I am part of the problem. I was like
You
a
told
friend
me.
of mine. So you can't get in on it.
So yeah, the virtual assistant thing. So, but do you
Virtual
think
assistant.
having we got the terrorism from a virtual assistant?
Yeah, that was quick too.
It was
Yeah, it was
great.
quick, yeah.
So you have to think that there's a strong enough case against around staying on social media versus getting off it.
Yeah, I just think that just because a lot of the social content's pop culture and things that are happening, like if you can create really good content that's really reactive and relevant to trends, that can be powerful for brands. And so I kind of.
You are in.
I reluctantly just yep, cool. That's a thing now, and then we build off that and try and turn it into something good. But at the same time, I just think I could, everyone would get a lot more done.
But I'm always surprised that, like, I think about, like, I knew about all of like your transition into, doing Priceless full time, and that never would have happened if social media wasn't around.
Exactly.
Even like you mentioned your mate, the Galligan. I feel like
good old Gallagher.
Yeah, the podcast, like the orange logo.
Yes.
I remember I listened to all of those.
Yep.
I remember, what was your get shit done or something?
Yeah, that's how you get shit
And so I
done.
listened to all of, like, it's funny how people are like consuming content from the outside and you never hear from them.
For sure.
But it's still
It's headlines. It's headline media. So you know if you just sort of.
But not even headlines. If you're doing a fucking podcast, if someone's listening for 40, like, I reckon there's probably a bunch of shit that I heard then, which has sort of then educated me about the questions around, like,
Sure.
the transition and how hard it was and all that sort of thing. I don't know how the fuck I know that.
I do like. I think I'd love to, if you could like have a setting on Facebook where you could just be the creator and then not consume anything. Then I would just totally just press the button and upload things and put things out there. I just don't like consuming a lot, which means I'm probably just gonna get real grumpy and right wing when I'm like 80. And just be full of conspiracy
What do you
theories.
enjoy? What do you enjoy consuming? And what platform? Where is it on?
I love I just love Netflix. I love Netflix. I think the stuff that they're putting out is really great. They understand what gets people, and they would do a lot of analytics on like, crime and like making a murder, and then 6 months later like 4 of them come out, and so I love watching that stuff.
They're doing stuff on YouTube now too. Is that Netflix is not a joke or whatever? Whatever that is.
Instagram. There's an Instagram account too.
Yeah, but the YouTube stuff's really interesting because they've got Tom Papa and Fortune or whatever. Like they've
They're making originals on that. Yeah,
on
cool.
YouTube, which is really cool.
That's cool. Yeah. I don't. I'll just Spotify, listen to a lot of music. I love listening to sleep playlists. I sleep with that shit.
Yeah, great.
Sleep. So what is it? Just music while
Just
you
like
sleep.
there's a whole category of just sleep music.
Like thunderstorms. Do you listen
Thunderstorms,
to
and then there's like peaceful piano and stuff. Fuck,
What piano?
I froth on that shit. Peaceful piano.
peaceful piano. No. Piece shit piano.
I just got,
piano, just like out of tune. I just love it.
I just got sent my like wrap up for 2019. Your top songs. The first one is I like to move it. The Madagascar Escape to Africa soundtrack.
The kids are onto it.
Me. The second song, Hans Zimmer. Don't think it's for me. It's from the Madagascar soundtrack.
Oh, really?
That's great.
The third song is Post Malone.
Good. Are you back? You made number 3.
Yeah, I made number 3. It was my son first 2 options, then me.
I mind like if I go whatever I've been listening to recently, if I put on shuffle, it would be like black keys into this like really slow thing on a violin, and I was just like, this algorithm is fucked on my Spotify. I need to reset. But yeah, and I read books. I like to read. I'd never used to read. I used to hate it. And then I now love it.
How did you fall in love with reading?
Just listening to people that I like and respect saying it was cool.
Yeah, that's so true.
And then I was like, okay, I might give this a go. And then
Do your eyes get tired?
yeah. So I reckon it's perfect before bed. So I read for like half an hour, and then I'll just it's like.
And then you listen
no
to sleep.
screen.
The
Then
sleep music.
I have my sleep music started already.
Really?
I get half an hour of that in and then I'm
How
out.
bright is it? Are you reading in your bedroom?
Well, this is getting quite personal. And so no, just little cheeky lamp next to my bed.
Okay.
Yeah. Mrs. hates it.
What about the music? What does she think?
Oh no, she gets around that.
Okay.
Yeah. We did
Is it
it
because
as
you read out loud?
I just give director's commentary on as I read.
What are you reading at the moment?
Actually, so I've got I'm reading the Mike Tyson autobiography. It is epic. I actually didn't think I'd like it at all, and I cannot stop reading it. He lived the craziest, or he's living the craziest life, and he's a beast of a man. So I don't know, because that sometimes I read like comedy, books on becoming better at writing and business books and all that kind of stuff, and then sometimes you're like, shit, I just need to escape into something else, and then this is great to read because he's fucked up a lot.
Really?
So so I feel better.
Do you ever use him as an excuse? Like if something happens, you could say at least I'm not.
Hard to
I-
relate.
Mike Tyson.
Hard to
yeah.
relate when you have a tiger or when you leave a
Right.
nightclub with a few girls and go buy them a few cars.
Yeah.
And then
He's describing Mr. 97's Los Angeles
Sort of
habits.
So yeah, no, that's all I really think I consume. And the Wiggles.
oh yeah.
Fucking shitloads of Wiggles now with a 1.5-year-old.
It's amazing how
And,
much they've sort of.
It's actually it's a lot less than I used to watch before a child.
It's full on how kids are just so obsessed with screens.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's hard to fight it unless you have like I don't know, you have like a magic, like a ranch with just like things for them to do. Because if
Exactly.
you live in the modern day of like a house or an apartment, you're like,
And a ranch, like describe the ranch? What do you want?
I was
Like
gonna,
horses
I was
and
gonna
stuff,
say
or-
Neverland Ranch, but without the pedo element.
I did see
No,
you
you're
catch
right. So
yourself.
it's like you. It's
As in
hypocrite-
like lots of things to do,
Yeah,
not to
yeah,
like
yeah.
run around and get
Like
keep
Luna-
busy.
like if they lived-
Like, exactly.
yeah.
If you had something big where they could just go off and entertain themselves, but when you're living in this day and age, it's kind of this. There's so much you can do before it's like, okay, Wiggles and Netflix.
Are you in a house or an apartment? Or?
I'm at a house in Camberwell at the moment.
I mean, more space for a child. They love it. They fucking
Camberwell.
get around.
That's where my favourite cafe is, isn't it? Heritage Wall.
I don't know it.
Really,
Don't
I
know.
go there every Sunday.
Do you?
Yeah.
It's just his favorite. Doesn't mean it's the best.
No, it's really they do like smoked eggplant.
No, that's,
which
I have
is-
seen a photo of it. Look good.
Yeah.
Look
And
good.
they're really good smashed avo as well with some pomegranates and
All right.
that sort of thing.
Might get around it.
2020. What are you sort of looking forward to?
I love the Kinne Show. I love working with Troy and the little family we've kind of put together of talented humans. And I think we're doing.
I thought you were talking about your actual family then. The way you described
not
it,
them.
just put it together.
Yeah, not
Little collab.
No, the
Yeah.
acting and the crew and all that. It's I think we're doing 15 days shooting or something like that, and that's all. We always end up around like St Kilda and
I saw you shooting last season in St Kilda. I was just walking past, and you
Feel
were
like-
all across the road, like just
Yeah,
near
yeah.
Ackland Street, Barclay Street.
A lot of Port Melbourne. I feel like I've always seen like when Kinne does you sort of like point, like look over there or
Where-
whatever. It's near the sort of Spirit of Tassie, maybe.
yeah, we're down that way. Our production offices are in Port Melbourne, so that's so much fun, and it just feels like you get thrown in together for 15 days, and it's 6 a.m. till 6 at night, and you're shoulder to shoulder, and then it just feels so good when you've wrapped shooting. So I'm looking forward to that, which is kind of I have to like pause on the priceless stuff for 2 months, which is a little bit painful, and I'm trying to work out how to make sure that still runs smoothly while I'm away. And then I would love to just do more longer form stuff, so longer form TV. And then I do enjoy cracking briefs for brands, and if we can move into bigger space as well, I do think we're in the right direction, and just make sure we're still having a lot of fun. What about you guys? What's 2020? What are we doing?
Mate, we're closing
bigger
up.
table?
We're done. No.
Liquidation.
We're ending on 560.
Does Priceless want to buy us?
This is absolutely not. No, 2020, I think it's, I haven't even stopped to think about this year, to be honest. I think we're just getting through the year.
Yeah.
Taking a little bit of time off while the show goes out, pre-recording, and so a week. But we've hit some milestones, but it's hard when you're sort of flying to really be grateful for it.
This space is amazing, and it feels like you can do a lot of stuff here, which would be awesome.
Yeah, I think we're trying to we're working on over the break. I'm working on the website and trying to work out, because our big media company website does a horrendous job. It was literally Tommy and I did it a year ago when we were in Los Angeles at a Starbucks, just pumping out just whatever we could, just so it looked like we had a business.
Oh, amazing!
And
that's great.
But we did that, but then it hasn't actually it's one of those things where it's like, now this shit's not going to last. We'll get back to it, and then you forget.
Yeah,
and then so that
but
just
the hard thing is that you can make quite a bit of money not having that dialed in, and so that's where it does lose the attention based on it, not being the make or break.
That's this is an interesting question. Like, do you reckon businesses need websites now to get new business? Excluding like e-commerce stuff.
Well, I think that you need to be good at externalizing what you do, and so where we have struggled this year, especially the second half of the year, is the Daily Talk Show has done so well in regards to taking over our brand and what we're about, that the companies that would normally come to us for more that sort of traditional online, like our bread and butter has been the short form docos for brands. So it's like, we want to do a hero video explaining our origin story or who we are. That's sort of the stuff that we do. A slight misalignment at the moment with the Daily Talk Show and that. And so I think that it is definitely important to make it very clear and obvious as to what it is that you can help people with. I think that what makes what you do so great is what works so well is that your original content is an extension of the client stuff. So, or the client stuff is the extension of the original stuff. So if I watch a Kayo integrated piece that you make, or an original piece for them, it's not too dissimilar to something that you would see on Kinne or anything else that you've done.
Yes.
And so you're able to, and a lot of video professionals can use the product that they have as the communicator. Yeah. And that negates the need for a website.
But I think we always look to the niche or someone who, so the advice is getting into business or wanting to create an audience, find the thing that everybody else wants. Fishing, talk about fishing. There's already a bunch of people who like fishing. But so I could look over to there from here, or even our style of business, looking to yours and thinking, it would be much easier if I just had the ravioli, if we're taking it back to the original metaphor.
Yeah. Good callback.
If we only could sell ravioli, it would be so much simpler. Is it as simple?
We'd have to get comfortable with saying the word.
I know. It's clearly not there. Are you okay selling ravioli? But is it easier? Do you understand what I'm saying?
It?
No, not over it. No, I'm saying. I'm saying
put so much into ravioli.
So if we've had a struggle communicating what we do because we've got a few things happening, we're trying to find our footing. We think maybe it would be easier if you just had one thing to offer as the exclusive thing. You do ravioli well. But you do it well. You do what you do. But
you do KO branded
behind the door, is it, do you have
colours?
white label ravioli? That's his business.
White label ravioli.
Okay. Selling only ravioli. Is it all it's cracked up to be? Do you still have the struggles of going oh, but those people over there are, selling a few things, so
Spaghetti.
maybe we could do that.
It's kind of
we got there.
it's trust me, especially when we first started, it would be so much easier to do. Like, I could own 2 houses if I did a wedding video as well.
Mhm.
But fuck that.
From ravioli, it's a bit of a stretch.
From something ravioli. I could just I could do no. So
But isn't that? I feel like that's a very common. I feel like that's a slight cliche that we all use, which is like, man, if I was happy doing work that I fucking hate,
yeah.
I'd be so rich.
It's so true. I know. I'm sure Troy's would be fine with me saying this. His brother's an accountant. He's got a great little family. They're great humans, and he's happy. He's a happy accountant with a happy family, and everything's good. And Troy and myself are like, fucking asshole. that would be great.
Yeah.
It was just if that was it,
Yeah.
accountant job, got my family, got the house. That's it. But we're built to want, there's individuals that are built that need more.
But if you look at we're just looking from the external, right?
That's exactly
But
right,
from the
yeah.
external, from what
They
we
might
see,
hate each other.
exactly. Yeah, I'm sure shit.
He's been cooking the books. He's about to go to jail for many years.
Exactly. Yeah. No, the
if you're watching, shout out. Sorry if this caused anything.
But I need my tax return.
I guess that external. So from my perspective anyway, it's like 2016, very hard year for you. You have this is a completely external viewpoint. The Channel 10 thing, really good win, gives you a bit of financial stability, an injection of cash every year or however long it's happening.
Yep.
And then you can frees up a little bit of time that you can then reprioritize the types of priceless productions you're taking on.
Correct.
So you can go to those types of things.
Yep.
I mean, I guess it's just interesting the external perspective
for
of
sure.
things.
That the Kinne stuff has been just incredible. Yeah, from just to financially keep myself able to not make an irrational decision like doing wedding videos or corporate videos or starting a pasta shop. So I'm able to kind of have a bit of insurance just to keep fighting what I'm trying to do and what I'm fighting for, and then so I'm very thankful for that. But I'm never gonna. I don't think I'm ever gonna get bored of doing comedy regardless of what platform it's on. So if I just stick to my guns on that front, we had a shoot yesterday and the day before, and we're just laughing all day. People at the end of the day saying, "Oh, I had so much fun," and it's nice to be able to create that environment and with good people around you. And that if I can do that all the time out of 365 days, if I can do that 100 days a year, it would be awesome. That's it at this stage.
Do you have the internal stresses? Instance, if you look at the contrast between where you were and where you are now, I feel like there'd be a significant difference. But do the stresses remain similar?
They're getting I'm stressing less. I think that's maybe partly maturity and then also partly experience and knowing that it's not the end of the world. We had the shoot we had yesterday was for a brand called Nobby Underwear. I'm happy to say it because they're legends. And
do you have a coupon code that people can use?
No, I don't. I need to set that up.
Just max price.
Yeah,
checkout.
just see what happens in the checkout. Invalid. They had product from Sunshine. So brand new product that they haven't even seen yet. That it's for Australia Day in February next year. They had samples come from China, land in Sunshine Coast, and we had a shoot yesterday, and they had a courier taken from Sunshine Coast overnight, and they had to be on our door by 8 a.m. in the morning. And they said someone will arrive throughout the night, and you have to sign for it. So me and my partner are asleep, going, was that the door? Was that the door? And they didn't turn up in the morning. And then we got in the car to go to set with no product to shoot.
I know.
So we had 15 people, and we were just going to be okay, we're going to have to, me and Luke Goodall were going to go into another room and rewrite the whole script how can we do it without the product? And as we were driving halfway, we get a call from the courier saying it's here. We booked an Uber and then we called up the Uber driver and said, hey, mate, you're not actually going to take anyone. We're just going to this guy's going to put a box in your car. So I had courier waited, Uber driver came, he put it in and then it turned up. Now, if I was doing that 2 years ago, I would be pulling hair out and just like, I don't get hives, but probably have hives just from how stressed.
So what's the difference?
I just started, I think, problem solving and being able to like go, okay, it's not the end of the world. You're not gonna die. Nothing's bad's gonna happen. You're gonna get home and you're gonna piss some people off, but fuck, it's not the end of the world. But also the ability to, with some experience in writing and filmmaking, as you know, is all just about problem solving. It's like, okay, well, I just thought more rational and we were going to be fine, as opposed to 2 years ago where it was just like, well, what's the point? And I would have probably, got another job.
How do people know that you're stressed on set? Say you're 13 days into a 15-day shoot.
Oh, they'll feel it. Because I'm kind of directing most things or co-directing, like I understand the importance of a good vibe on set.
Sure.
Especially for comedy and especially to allow crew and cast to feel comfortable. And so I'll make sure I'm never too stressed. I'm pretty happy for you guys to ask actors that I've worked with.
Do you overcompensate potentially? Like sometimes if I'm having a shit day, I'll say to 97, bring it, let's bring a vine, let's fucking get into it, get excited. I actually I texted him a few weeks ago and asked if he could play the song, what is it called? It's the one, I feel the earth move under my feet. I wanted to arrive to the office with that song playing, which is slightly obnoxious. But I messaged him and then I came in and there was some fucking like Passenger was playing. I was like, what the fuck's going on? He hadn't looked at his phone. So it ruined my day. So he doesn't work with us anymore. So how do you bring the vibe? Do you have any tricks? Smile?
I think it's just making sure it's like, just instilling confidence in crew and cast that like, that's a great idea to shoot from here. And that's a great take. That's a great way you're doing that. Even if it's not, even if it's like, you just do some sandwich stuff of like, oh, that was good. You do less of that on the next one. But otherwise it was bloody great. But and obviously you get the idiots that you work with and you work with once and then,
why is everyone looking that way?
you work with them once and then you just don't give them another call. You just get the,
not that he would answer. He doesn't check his phone.
He doesn't check the phone. No, I don't know. I definitely don't try and think of it like like mathematically or just like with a system. I just kind of very observant on set, and if I start to understand that person doesn't like that person, I kind of make sure it's just mediating relationships, especially when you're doing like a 15 or 20 day shoot or something. You just have to make sure morale's high, but you keep morale high by nipping things in the bud when they first start and keeping it all relatively good. Not to say that there's still times where multiple things go wrong and you're running an hour behind and something hasn't been set up right, or it just does become stressful because there's so many people in the working on their job at the same time, and
it's hard to train for high pressure situations because it's high pressure. And to sort of manufacture that is a very hard thing.
Absolutely. And I think that's what's been really great with doing these really small shoots for a while, that it's not overwhelming to go into a shoot with 20 to 30 people, crew and cast. You've done like like with Elliot Loney, it was just me and him, and then me, him and Troy, and then it's just kind of expanded now. So it wasn't like I went out of film school and went into like a 30 people crew and cast shoot. I would have just shit myself. It would have been too much.
I've mentioned Kayo a couple of times.
Yep.
I actually I had an idea for a segment that I wanted to do on this show, I never actually told Tommy about it.
Oh, this is
But
for the big 560 episode. This is a new segment.
This could be the last one.
So I don't know much about sport.
Yep.
And I would like to get better at sport, like knowing sport, how it works, all that sort of thing.
Yep.
So this was a pitch.
Have we got a little music
Yeah,
sting?
no, we don't yet, but we will. So I'll read you the email.
Do it in post.
Do it first.
So I went on LinkedIn and I found someone named Asher who works at Kayo.
Asher, yep.
Do you deal with Asher?
No,
Okay. Marketing manager, I think. Anyway, this
Sounds
is
like the wrong contact if
this is
Max
annoying.
isn't dealing with it.
Hi, Asher.
So go on.
Oh, you've
Yeah.
written this.
So I wrote an email. I sent a couple because you know how I think we heard from someone where they're like, you have to send 3 emails before you get a response. So he
Just in a row
Yeah.
within a minute.
So this is what I sent. This is on a Sunday, 17th of November at 1:57
Oh, so it's sent.
p.m.
Sorry, I thought you just.
No. I sent this because I was trying to make it happen. I was producing
this is
some
exciting.
segments in the show.
Yeah.
Hi, Asher. I'm the co-host and producer of The Daily Talk Show, thedailytalkshow.com. We're a Melbourne-based 7-day-a-week podcast and video show. Recently, we celebrated 500 episodes of the show. I'm looking at doing a story arc on the show where I surprise my co-host Tommy with a sports segment on the show, hosted by me. We've spoken a bunch on the show about my desire to get into sport, so I think it would be a bit of fun. Talked about it on our chat with Andy Lee recently, just a little bit of leverage. Would you be up for providing an ongoing subscription of Kayo for me to use? In return, I'll mention Kayo in my segment, which will be fun. We're currently getting around 55,000 audio downloads a month, and over 70% of our audience are Aussies. Hope you're doing ace. Play on and let's get ready to rumble. #sports talk.
That's where you lost her.
What is that bullshit
the
at the end? If that's not their catch cry or like their.
It was a sports.
I felt the moment that she went delete.
Do you reckon?
And it's so low level. All it is a $15 subscription.
That's what I thought. Because I did the.
It was value. Dead.
Do you reckon
I was like, she's giving you that subscription.
I was thinking she's an idiot.
Really?
I was thinking she's an idiot if she doesn't give it to you.
And so I followed up, obviously. Hi, Asher. Happy Friday. I wanted to create some urgency. So I know we haven't done the segment
Oh
yet.
no, you haven't mentioned that we got Max Price.
No.
They're
Ruining relationships. No.
So they're more. Sorry, I want to.
So I just
I'm
said.
excited for this follow up.
So I just said no. I just wanted to. I wanted to keep it short, but I was like, I need to create level of urgency. Hi, Asher. Happy Friday. Just following up to see if you're interested in partnering with this segment. Looking at launching it on Monday. Here's a 2-minute show highlights package to give you a better sense of the show. I just require a 1-year subscription of Kayo in exchange for a Kayo mention every time I do my sports segment. Cheers. Nothing. But I didn't even. I was going to write play on, but I didn't.
Lucky you didn't.
And so
Lucky you
what am I? What's wrong?
The puns at the end, obviously.
Yeah. So you reckon?
It's clear to see.
So do you think maybe because I thought that could have. Someone else was saying. I don't know if you know Leon Shergren, but I was speaking to Leon Shergren.
yeah,
He's an executive producer. I said it to him. He's like, I think that potentially they're wanting to get people who like sport, and potentially someone who likes sport doesn't like me. Potentially, because I'm not a sports like I'm not a sports kind of guy.
He actually said that. That's fucking some truth bombs right there.
Because he liked the idea, but I'm trying. Do you think there's a way for? I know, like, because we would
Max,
provide.
will you just pay for the subscription?
Yeah.
Brought to you by Priceless.
I'll give you my login details. You can share one. By the sounds of it, you're never going to really watch anything.
No, I got right into the college basketball for whatever reason. That's what was on
Kayo.
On Kayo.
Is that instead of Ready Steady Cook as daytime TV?
Yeah, the red pepper.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah.
My God.
And so, but you reckon,
what is that? A wrestling reference?
Yeah, just like a sports reference in general.
No, it's not.
No.
That's a.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah, but that's specific.
It was a song and everything.
Yeah,
is it Space Jam or something?
Yeah. Because I used to court announce the basketball at Blackburn Vikings and Daniel.
I thought I recognised that voice.
What is it?
Michael Buffer.
Came up with that.
Oh yeah, he's a boxing announcer.
It's from boxing.
I thought he was giving me another
Yeah.
contact. For
I'm pretty
Kayo.
sure he's trademarked that. Can you look it up? Let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah, he's known for his trademarked catchphrase. Let's get ready to rumble.
Oh my God.
They've avoided that at all costs.
This might be the last episode of this
And
show.
so, Your trademark, whatever.
Whatever. Yeah, Your Honour. Whatever, Your Honour.
So do you think, is there anything, in all seriousness, like...
Do you want to contact a Kayo?
Yeah. I'm trying potentially.
give you
Or
an
what about
email.
Sportsbet? Maybe Sportsbet could...
Free bets.
Yeah, or bets. But
All
maybe
bets
they
are
could
off. That's
pay-
what he's going to finish
Oh,
it.
just don't do less puns.
But yeah, I think that there's something in that. I think that a weekly thing, because I reckon I've probably got an hour a week that I could spend, especially like sport. I was going to say sports season, footy season.
Sports season.
I could get into that and just do, because I think it'd be cool. We've got Callum Sinclair coming on the show who plays for the Swans.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Really good friend of mine.
Oh, great.
I went to school with him.
Awesome.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
When
Oh,
we
he's a
went to,
legend.
Callum and I went to primary school together.
Yeah, right.
So where else to me?
Brighton boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's a ripper.
Yeah.
He's so much
Do you reckon
fun.
I could potentially leverage his image to KO? Would that impress him?
Yeah, do a photo at the end and
Maybe me holding out the KO app just on my free trial.
Yeah. And
Callum will probably be
and
pissed.
Just can't log in.
get a little megaphone then put in let's get ready to rumble in Photoshop after trademark buffer, whatever his name is.
Okay.
my
All right.
photo.
Well, yeah. I mean, because we're not much of a. We're trying to do something different to radio, but I guess there is a potential. I would like to have one consistent segment next year.
So what would it be? So can we do one now?
Yeah. So it would be like, 97 would have like a sting. Can you just make one up on the spot, Sebs? Like a voiceover,
Yeah, here we
but
go.
put something into it.
Just care about it.
Yeah. For once.
Welcome to Josh Janssen's KO Sports Weekly Wrap Up. Let's get ready to rumble.
Trademark.
Yeah, the rumble bit we're going to lose. I also don't fucking say KO's name again until we're saying cash or a subscription. It's all about Sportsbet. Or like that was
a
my
lot
other,
of- yeah.
this is my other problem. I couldn't even. I was trying to Google like a competitor. So I could be like, hey, I'm also talking to who, Foxtel?
Yeah, who own them?
Yeah, that's fucked.
Yeah,
ESPN,
they're in the same building in Sydney.
And so
I think where we're going to fall flat is the actual content of this segment.
No, I think it would
so,
be great. I'd be like, I think that I would have the ability to talk a bit meta about it. So I'd be like, it was interesting. What I noticed was like, I think like hockey would be a good example. I'm watching hockey. It's like, wow, for people who haven't watched ice hockey before, extremely aggressive. What I thought was interesting is that the way
Who
that
are you speaking to?
But extremely
People have
aggressive
just
ice hockey. That's I think you know that after your first few words, when you, like that's
But so yeah, I think that
Razor blade on their feet,
Yeah,
pucks flying
At the moment,
everywhere.
this is quite general knowledge of this sport.
yeah, it's a bit of a general knowledge slash
Okay, cool.
sports talk. But yeah, I just think that there's probably something in at the end of the episode. Everyone knows something about some form of sport that they could potentially use as a piece of trivia at a party that weekend.
I mean,
So-
that takes a bit of effort. The other thing, which I don't know if you're that into, is
Disney
it being
Plus.
a laughing at you segment based on the lack of general knowledge. Because I think that'd be quite funny if like pointing out things that are blatantly obvious that you actually genuinely had no fucking idea about.
Yeah. Well, I think that
Sports related?
It's sports related, so the hockey thing.
Yeah.
Well, see, I probably
Is,
would
is
go-
hockey mildly aggressive or quite aggressive?
It's which is more
The more aggressive.
mildly is or quite. Quite is more than mildly. Mildly.
What did I say? Mildly
You said
and then
Quite.
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 Quite
Oh,
or
because they're about
mildly.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
this segment needs some work.
Maybe. Oh, you know what? Maybe I do it. Fuck. This is what we do. Fuck off KO. Fuck off Sportsbet. Fuck off Foxtel. I think what we do.
Unless
Max
you
is
can.
like, I can't share this content. You just-
No comment.
No, I think we get Nando's on board. They're a client of ours already. We're as a supplier. Surely we can send them an invoice, and they might pay.
Random one.
Yeah, but what we could do is, I could do it based on Perry bastings. So I could say based on that mild thing, lemon and herb mild, extra hot, and I bring the sort of sport to.
The visual element.
I'm just imagining the cricket. I know cricket, like KFC, get really big onto the cricket.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, hey, Nando's, Do you want fucking KFC to be doing all the sports stuff?
Oh,
I don't know.
It's just a sponsor deal. KFC just give the Big Bash cash to be their main sponsor.
Mm. So the barrier to entry for Nando's is very low, isn't it? Or maybe grilled.
Oh no, yeah.
Well, grilled's got some things happening.
I don't think I'll pay you.
Maybe some free vouchers or something.
Yeah.
Do you remember they did the whole Movember deal where it's like, I just knew someone's like, yeah, I'm growing a mo because I get a free grilled burger every week.
Ah, that's right. They did do that. Yeah.
I wish we had known. Just fake it up.
No, but then they did DD. Then DD was the main one. Anyway, a bit of inside baseball, also a sports reference.
Anyway, you see, we're a work in progress, Max.
This segment was, I'm glad to be a part of the first and last segment of that, whatever that was.
Most outstanding thing was his intro.
He always brings it. He never did theatre or drama in school. He got a 97 enter score.
Wow. I hate him.
Max Price, when does that come out?
I don't know. I think like June or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Winter, good time.
Winter, yeah. Snuggle up, and I think it'll be the same time slot, which is Monday nights after Have You Been Paying Attention? So 9 o'clock, I think. Something like that.
Good. And where do you have a one spot where everyone goes to see your stuff?
Yeah, I got my still got those Instagram Max Price 3 and Facebook Max Price Comedy.
Yeah, great.
And I've got off chat roulette recently. That was the best.
Yeah.
By the way. That was
a lot
that was
of
good
fun,
for a bit of
wasn't it?
banter, a few beers, and then see heaps of dicks.
Yeah.
Occasionally not a dick, but like,
I just swipe for the dicks. Be like, oh, these right.
Should we do, when we finish, can we just do a few minutes of chat roulette?
Just see if it's
I'd
there.
love to.
Okay, great.
In between, I've got to get back to sports season.
It's a Daily Talk Show. Hi at thedailytalkshow.com. Will you come back too, Max? It would be great to, I feel like maybe even sports, like if I can't hold up all sports knowledge, you can come in as doing a bit of it too. Also, that sort of happy to build in that Kayo relation. If you got a direct email,
I'll give you an email. That's clearly all that you want.
You're great. Thank you. All right. See you tomorrow, guys.
See you guys.
Let's get ready to rumble.